how is it that you actually get into Forbes? Hi guys, my name is Deepak Shukla, founder at Pearl Lemon PR. We're a public relations agency based in the UK, USA, as well as Uganda, and serving clients worldwide. And here today in day number 15 of 39 days of public relations training, we're here to talk about how to get into Forbes. But before we get into it, feel free to click the link in the description below to get access to 11 additional strategies that are not going to be shared in this training. So look, fundamentally, when it comes to big name, big tier publications, especially a place like Forbes, I think that, in the beginning, it's best by identifying ultimately where your fit would be. So if we look at Forbes, and then have a look at the areas, then it's typically going to be, as you can see, business, investing, technology, entrepreneurship, leadership, and lifestyle. So there's actually a couple of options there. If we were to take the example of, let's say, myself, then I would want to look at business, I'd want to look at entrepreneurship, leadership, and lifestyle. So if we jump into here, then as you can see, these are some of the popular areas. You might want to, as a consequence, have a look at areas that seem to make sense to you. So I would absolutely advocate exploring Forbes as a magazine and then trying to identify what is going to make the most sense for you. So if we look at, for example, leadership, then I might want to look at, for example, leadership strategy. Then I might want to look at the CEO network just to get a sense of what's going on there. Then working remote, and then maybe, yeah, those would be the areas. So let's have a look. Leadership strategy. Editors put bruised up succession questions. The same CEO job 2 times. So as you can see, there's stuff that's going on here. And appeal to his audience. As you can see, there's a lot of different things going on here. So it's about trying to find something that you think could identify with an article or angle that you could take. That's first of all, potentially. And then in combination with that, you'd have a look at potentially some of these senior contributors. So it's a good way to initially start. Have a look at what's going on in leadership strategy at the moment. We've got some editors' picks. So these have been picked by the editors. You'd want to also, to that end, find out exactly who the editors are. But if we have a look at the secret to creating a sense of belonging at work, what's clear is that within the leadership section, you might want to pick the new me-focused ways today's customers think. It's a metaverse worth all of the hype. Explains what entrepreneurs should be too. So if we look at the metaverse, because that's something I'm curious about, it's a 7-minute article in terms of read. We've got Melanie Fine, and then she talks about "20 days straight." As you can see, there's a lot of interesting stuff happening here. I disable that. So we've got an ad blocker running. As you can see, what I'm trying to do fundamentally is have a look around what kind of stuff they're writing about and exactly where then that would fit into something that you could consider, and then identifying a contributor and then approaching the contributor and also then seeing what the contributor themselves writes about. So there's a combination here that you could, a combination of strategies, and then you could, of course, Google Bruce Weinstein, or let's see if we can connect with him on LinkedIn. Yeah, definitely can. Forbes contributor, he's written it there. So doing or putting together an outreach strategy for example, every Forbes contributor potentially could be one way to do it. But yeah, fundamentally, you want to
Bruce Weinstein.
Nice. Fundamentally, you want to have a look at all of these options here in terms of looking at the niche. And I've got my blocker. I need to disable my ad blocker. Identifying some articles that you think might make sense in line with stuff that you could talk about. So, for example, this lady was, how did I say my ad back? This lady was talking about, let's just temporarily block it. was talking about, pause on this side. Let's see if that does it. It worked. Fantastic. So Melanie talks about the metaverse. So we could then potentially put something together in regards to the metaverse and see where we go from there. So that would definitely be one way to do it. So I think that once you combine the area and the niche, and then you combine the subsection, and then you combine a potential writer and some angles, you can begin to one by one start looking at areas or angles that you could use to connect. So you can see several of her areas now. God, the ads are now very annoying, but you can see several of her angles, and this will give you opportunities to find out what the best way in to get into Forbes is. So there you have it, guys. It's a surprisingly straightforward way to get into Forbes. And of course, if you want to work with us to really get you into Forbes and to get you regular content, that's something we can definitely do.